Hello everyone, welcome to Align Books. In this video, we'll be exploring the Purchase module, a powerful tool designed to help you manage everything related to the procurement of goods and services for your business. Whether you're purchasing raw materials, office supplies, or any type of inventory, this module allows you to track it all, quickly, efficiently, and with full accuracy. We'll begin with the configuration settings for this module. To configure the Purchase module, navigate to the Configuration section and click on Company Setup. Under the Purchase Setup, you'll find all the settings related to purchase operations. Let's walk through each option one by one. The first option is Vendor Label. This allows you to define how you identify your suppliers within the system. You can choose from multiple labels such as supplier, vendor, jobber, contractor, or merchant. You can select the most appropriate label based on your business terminology. For example, in my case, I'll select vendor, as that's how we refer to our suppliers. Next is Logistic Details. This is useful if you need to capture shipment-related information, especially while generating e-way bills. If you enable this option, an additional section will appear in your billing screen where you can enter shipment company details and related logistics information. The following option is Document Classification. This helps you categorize your purchase documents. For instance, you might want to distinguish between purchase documents related to inventory items and those meant for operational expenses. This feature allows you to classify and organize them accordingly. Next, we have Agent-wise Billing. If your business involves agents or intermediaries and you need to assign them to purchase bills, you can enable this option. Once turned on, you'll be able to select the agent while booking a purchase invoice. Then we have the setting for Tax and Reads. This determines how taxes are applied in your purchase bills. You can choose to apply taxes as inclusive, exclusive, or on a document basis. Let me explain the document basis option with an example. When you're creating a purchase bill, if the tax setting is configured on document basis, you'll get the flexibility to select whether the tax should be calculated inclusively or exclusively at the time of bill creation. Alternatively, if you always prefer one format, such as inclusive, you can preset it here, and the system will apply it by default every time. The next configuration is Purchase Stock Posting On. This defines when your inventory stock should be updated. Should stock quantities be posted at the time of creating a purchase order or only when a purchase invoice is generated? You can set your preference here based on how your business operates. Here you have three choices: Invoice, GRN, or First Document. If you choose Invoice, the stock will be updated only when the purchase invoice is created. If you choose GRN, which includes receipt notes, stock will be posted when the goods are received. And First Document means whichever document you create first, whether it's the GRN or the invoice, the stock will be posted based on that document. Next, we have Purchase Return Stock Posting On. Similar to purchase posting, this setting defines when the stock gets reduced in case of a return. You can choose whether stock should be updated at the time of creating the purchase return, at the Challan stage, or again, based on the first document. Now moving on to Round Off, this is where you can control how the bill amount is rounded. You can round off to the nearest unit, 10, 100, and so on, depending on how you prefer the amount to be displayed on your purchase documents. Next is Posting Ledger Based On. This lets you decide how ledger entries should be created, either based on item-wise details or using tax categorization. Then we have Select Rate Category on Document. This is particularly useful when you work with different vendors offering different rates for the same item. In Align Books, you can create rate categories or price lists linked to specific suppliers. Enabling this option allows you to choose the applicable rate category while creating the purchase document, so the rates get picked automatically based on your predefined setup. The following option is Input Billing Charges. If you want to enter any additional charges, like freight, packaging, or handling, while creating the Goods Received Note, GRN, you can turn this setting on to allow those charges to be entered directly in the GRN. Next, we have a powerful feature: Purchase Custom Fields. Align Books already offers all standard fields required for managing purchases. But if your business needs additional fields for custom information, you can enable up to 5 extra fields. You can configure each field with a checkbox to enable the field, an allow blank setting in case you want the field to be optional, a caption where you define what this field will be labeled as, and a type which lets you choose the input type, whether it's a text field, numeric, currency, or a date. Once you save the settings, These custom fields will appear on your purchase documents, giving you extra flexibility to collect any specific data your workflow requires. Now, let's return to the company setup screen. The next section is for vendor custom fields, similar to purchase custom fields, but this time specifically for your vendor master. Before making any purchase, you'll first need to create and maintain a list of vendors or suppliers. And with vendor custom fields, you can capture any additional information you might require at the vendor level. You can enable any extra fields based on your specific requirements. This section works the same way as the purchase custom fields. Simply tick the checkboxes for the fields you want to enable, assign a suitable name or label, and then define the type, whether it's a text input, numeric value, date, or currency. Moving ahead, we have the billing setup at the item level. This setting allows you to include additional charges or discounts, such as freight, packing, or promotional discounts, directly within the invoice at the item level. Align Books provides 3 customizable fields here. You can enable these fields, set their captions, and define how each charge or discount should be calculated. For example, you can choose whether the charge is calculated on the item's base value or another basis like point B, a reference from pricing structure. You can also define the posting ledger, which means where the accounting entry for that charge or discount should be posted in your books. Next, we have the add or reduct setting. Here, you can specify whether the extra field should add a value, such as a charge, or reduce a value, like a discount. If you choose the floating option, then during invoice generation, you'll be able to decide whether to add or subtract that value simply by using the plus or minus symbol. Another advanced option is slab based on. This determines whether the extra field calculation is based on the quantity of items or on the amount. Then comes the freight based on setting, where you can specify how the freight should be applied, whether item-wise, party-wise, brand-wise, party brand-wise, or based on any other chosen classification. Now let's move to the billing setup at the document level. While the previous settings applied at the item level, this section allows you to define charges or discounts that apply to the entire document. For example, a flat freight charge for the whole invoice. Again, you can enable up to 3 fields here, set their captions, define the calculation logic, and decide where each entry should be posted in your ledgers. Once all your required settings are configured, click Save to apply the changes. And with that, we've completed the configuration settings section of the purchase module. Now that we've completed the configuration settings, let's begin exploring each feature within the purchase module. The first option is Vendor. As configured earlier, we selected Vendor as our preferred label for identifying suppliers. So on this screen, you'll see the heading Vendor name reflecting that choice. This is the main dashboard where all your existing vendor masters are listed. To create a new vendor, simply click on the Create New Vendor button. This opens a detailed entry form where you can input all relevant details of your vendor. The vendor creation form is organized into multiple sections for easy navigation. We begin with basic information. Here you'll enter the vendor's name, firm status like individual, proprietorship, company, etc., vendor category, and contact number. Next is the statutory information section. This is where you'll mention whether the vendor is GST registered or not, their GST number, and the applicable tax type. Clicking the arrow next to each section will collapse or expand the fields, helping you focus only on what you need at the time. Moving ahead, we have communication details. This includes the vendor's billing address, shipping address, and contact details. Fill these fields carefully as they are used while generating purchase documents. After that is the social profile section, where you can optionally add links to the vendor's social media or web presence. Then comes the Default Settings tab. Here you can define default payment terms, assign a price category, or link a default agent to this vendor if applicable. Next, we have the Bank Details section, where you can enter the vendor's account information to facilitate easy payments and reconciliation. Following that are the custom fields which we enabled earlier during the configuration setup. These extra fields will appear here and can be filled in based on your specific business needs. For example, any internal classification codes or compliance tags. You can also maintain contact person details separately. This is useful when your vendor company has multiple points of contact. The attachment section allows you to upload relevant documents for the vendor, such as contracts, certificates, or ID proofs. Now let's explore a very powerful feature in the vendor creation process, GST number verification. In the Basic Details tab, when you enter the vendor's GST number and click on the Patch Info button, Align Books will automatically fetch all relevant data from the official GST portal. This includes vendor's legal name, GSTIN, verification status, regular or composition, PAN number, registration date, registered billing address, state, city, and country details. All these fields will be filled in automatically, saving you the effort of entering each detail manually and ensuring accuracy. If the vendor is not registered under GST, you can skip this step and enter the information manually. Now let's continue with the next section of the vendor creation form. The first field here is name. This is where you enter the vendor's name. If you wish to rename this field for any reason, you can easily modify it as per your preference. Right next to it, you'll notice a language icon. This icon lets you add the vendor's name in another language. Align Books supports multiple regional languages, so you can input the name in any language required by your business. Once entered, just click on the OK button to save it. Next is print name. This is particularly useful if you want a different name to appear on printed invoices. For example, your internal records may say Vista Travels PVT Ltd, but on the invoice, you only want to display Vista. In such cases, simply enter the alternate name in this field. The identification field is optional. You can enter any internal reference or ID that helps you further identify or classify the vendor. The code field is auto-generated by the system. Align Books automatically assigns a unique code to each vendor to ensure proper mapping and avoid duplication. You'll also find a field for mapping code, which is useful for internal or third-party system integrations if needed. The next option is under ledger. Here, you'll define under which ledger this vendor's transactions should be posted. For example, you can select sundry trade creditors, which is commonly used for suppliers. Now comes an important toggle. Vendor common for sale or purchase. Sometimes, the same party may act as both a vendor and a customer. You may be buying and selling to the same entity. If that's the case, you can enable this option. Once enabled, this party will be available both in sales and purchase documents. The next option is sub-vendor. If you need to link this vendor as a part of a broader vendor group, you can enable this feature. This allows you to group multiple vendors under a single parent vendor for better reporting or management. After that, choose the firm status, whether the vendor is an individual, sole proprietor, partnership firm, LLP, or a registered company. This helps categorize vendors according to their legal identity. Then comes the territory field. Territories help you manage and filter vendors based on geographical areas. If you haven't already created a territory, just click the small add icon, enter the territory name, and save it. The system will generate a territory code automatically. Finally, you have the vendor category field. This is where you define how you want to categorize your vendors. For example, local, international, raw material suppliers, service providers, and so on. Categories help in sorting and generating targeted reports later. If you want to group or classify your vendors, for instance, you want some vendors marked under raw materials and others under office supplies, you can use the vendor category field. This helps you organize your database and filter vendor information more effectively, especially for reporting purposes. Next, we have the contact person field. Here, you can mention the name of the primary contact associated with this vendor. Beside that, you'll find the Browse button. If you'd like to attach a photo or logo of the vendor, simply click on Browse, select the appropriate image file from your system, and hit Open. The image will be attached to this vendor master and will be visible whenever you view their profile. Moving on to the statutory section. This is where you manage all compliance-related details of the vendor. If you used the Patch Info button earlier, most of these GST-related fields would already be auto-filled by Align Books based on the GST number. The GST number, registration date, and other related fields are pulled directly from the GST portal. In this section, you can also enter the CIN number, corporate identity number, and the PAN number of the vendor. If at any point in the future, the vendor's GST registration is suspended, you can simply tick the checkbox labeled Suspended GST to keep your records accurate. Next is the tax type. This determines how the taxes will be calculated for this vendor. You can choose between inclusive and exclusive tax options. This preference can be set globally in the configuration, but you can also customize it per vendor here. Following that is the distance field. You can enter how far this vendor is located from your business premises. This might be useful for calculating logistics or determining eligibility for certain shipping conditions. Now let's talk about the TDS options. The first is TDS on GST applicable. If this vendor falls under the rules for TDS on GST, tax deducted at source under the GST law, you can enable this option. TDS on GST is applicable when a registered person makes payments to a supplier. A certain percentage of that payment is required to be withheld as tax. This helps the government track and collect taxes in a timely manner. If your vendor is subject to regular TDS deduction, not just GST, you can enable the general TDS applicable checkbox as well. This ensures the system applies the correct TDS rates while generating purchase documents for this vendor. Next, we move to the communication section. This is where you enter the complete address details of the vendor. You can maintain both billing address and shipping address here. Often in business, the invoice is sent to one location while the goods are shipped to another. Align Books allows you to manage both addresses independently. Start by entering the country, state, city, PIN code, phone number, email ID, and if needed, latitude and longitude. Longitude refers to the geographical coordinate that specifies the east-west position of a location on Earth's surface. Now, once you enter the PIN code, Align Books will automatically fetch the corresponding latitude and longitude values. This allows you to visualize the vendor's location on Google Maps. This geolocation data can also be used in location-based reporting. Under shipping information, if the shipping address is the same as the billing address, simply click on the Copy from Billing button. All the address details from the billing section will automatically be filled in the shipping section. You can also specify a route or area name if you follow route-wise delivery or vendor segmentation. This helps in tracking and logistics planning. Now let's move to the social profile section. This is where you can store the vendor's online presence information, such as their website, Facebook page, Skype ID, Twitter handle, or LinkedIn profile. After that, we come to the default section. This is a very important area where you define the vendor's standard transactional preferences. You can set the payment terms, price category, agent or broker, transporter, credit limit, and maximum credit days. Payment terms define how and when the vendor expects to receive payment. For example, the vendor may prefer daily, weekly, monthly, or 30-day payment cycles. These terms can vary depending on the vendor's business policies or credit agreements. Align Books provides a drop-down with standard options, but if you need to create a custom term, simply click the Add button. You can define your own payment term according to your business needs. The price category option links back to the configuration you've already set. This allows the system to automatically pick item rates from a predefined rate list whenever you're raising a purchase bill for this vendor. Simply select the relevant price category from the drop-down. If this vendor is managed through an agent or broker, you can assign them here. Again, you can use the Add button to create a new agent if they're not already in the system. Lastly, you can also assign a transporter for this vendor. If a specific logistics partner handles shipments for this vendor, this detail can be saved right here to streamline documentation later on. Next, we move to the credit limit section. Credit limit is particularly useful when you are engaged in both sales and purchases with the same party. That means this vendor may also act as a customer. In such cases, you can maintain a defined credit limit here. This limit controls the maximum value of goods you're willing to supply to this party on credit. Below that, you can also define maximum credit days, that is, the number of days the party is allowed to make the payment. If the party does not clear the payment within the defined credit days and the due amount remains unpaid, you can also set an interest rate that will be applied to the overdue amount. Below that is a very advanced feature, Allow Align Books CVSS access. Just like we allow access to customers for checking their account details, you can also give access to vendors, especially if they are acting as your customers as well. CVSS stands for Customer Vendor Self-Service, and it allows the party to log in using their email ID and view key details like sales invoices, outstanding statements, and even place new orders directly from the portal. To activate this access, simply tick the checkbox and ensure the vendor's email ID has been correctly entered above. Once enabled, the vendor can visit the Align Books website and log into the CVSS panel using your company code and their email credentials. It's a powerful way to maintain transparency and reduce communication gaps. Next is the bank details section. Here you can enter the IFSC code or RTGS code, and the software will automatically fetch the corresponding bank name and branch. You can then enter the account number manually. After that, we have the custom fields section. These are the same extra fields that you may have enabled from the configuration. If needed, you can enter additional vendor-specific information in these custom fields. Below that is the contact person section. If the vendor organization has multiple contact persons, such as different people for accounts, sales, or dispatch, you can enter their names, designations, phone numbers, and email IDs here. This helps maintain a complete directory for future reference. Finally, there is the attachment section. If you want to attach any official documents like the vendor's Aadhaar card, PAN card, bank statement, or any registration certificate, you can do it from here. Simply click the Select File button, browse your local directory, and choose the file you want to upload. Once attached, it will be saved in the vendor's profile. Once all the information has been entered, click on the Save button to store the vendor details. If you want to clear all the entered data before saving and start fresh, simply click the Clear button. This will reset the form so that you can begin entering new information again from scratch. Once you've completed entering the vendor details, you have a few additional options available on the top menu. If you'd like to print the vendor's profile, simply click the Print button. This allows you to generate a hard copy of all the information you've entered for reference or documentation purposes. If you wish to delete the vendor's details, you can click the Delete button. However, please note that the software will only allow you to delete a vendor if there are no transactions associated with them. If any purchase, payment, or related entries exist, the system will restrict deletion. To exit from the vendor creation window and return to the list view, simply click on the Exit button. Now, coming to the Import option, this is a time-saving feature. Instead of creating vendors one by one, AlignBooks allows you to bulk import vendor masters using an Excel file. If you don't already have your vendor data in Excel, click on the Download Format button. This will give you a ready-made Excel template where you can fill in all required fields. Once your Excel sheet is ready, click on the Import button, select your file, and hit OK. All vendor details will be instantly uploaded into the system. If you already have an Excel file in a custom format, AlignBooks also gives you the flexibility to map the Excel columns with the system fields before importing. This ensures smooth integration of your existing data. After completing all necessary entries, click the Save button to store the vendor information. Now let's say you want to edit or update any vendor's details later. Simply select the vendor from the list and click on the Edit button. This will open the vendor form again, where you can make changes and then click Save to update the record. If you want to permanently remove a vendor record, make sure no transactions have been made for that vendor. If the vendor is unused, you can delete them from the system. On the right side of the screen, if you scroll or slide the columns, you'll find some useful widgets available for each vendor. These include last 6 months of purchase and payment data, items purchased from the vendor, purchase history, outstanding amounts, aging reports. You can access all this information instantly without leaving the vendor screen. You also have the option to set a vendor as active or inactive depending on whether you're currently dealing with them. In the vendor list view, you'll find key details like vendor code, phone number, email, ID, latitude, and longitude. These coordinates, if entered, are used to locate the vendor on Google Maps. Simply click the map icon and you'll be taken to their physical location using the embedded map view. To edit the GST number, click the dedicated edit icon next to the GST field. If you want to print the entire vendor list, click on the Print button at the top of the list view. And finally, for bulk deletion, AlignBooks allows you to select multiple vendors using checkboxes and click on the Bulk Delete button to remove them all at once. Again, remember, vendors with active transactions cannot be deleted. At the bottom of the screen, you'll find a few helpful controls to manage and customize your vendor master list. The Settings option is available here. Just below that, you'll notice 2 buttons, Clear Filter and Show Filter. Clicking on Show Filter will display filter boxes on top of each column. This allows you to quickly narrow down and search for specific vendor entries. For instance, if you want to view only certain vendor records, simply use the filters available on each column. If at any point you wish to hide these filters, you can just click on the Hide Filter button. Each column in the vendor master view comes with its own filter functionality. For example, if you want to see only 2 particular vendors, you can apply the filter using the drop-down in the name column, and only those 2 will appear on your screen. To remove all active filters and reset the view, click on the Clear Filter button. This will restore the full vendor list. You'll also notice an arrow icon beside each column name. This is for indexing or sorting. For example, if you click on the arrow in the name column, the list will be sorted alphabetically. Now let's say you make changes to a vendor or delete a record, but the list doesn't seem to reflect the update immediately. In such cases, simply click on the refresh button. This will reload the data and show the most recent changes. The next option in the purchase module is Purchase Price List. This feature in Align Books allows you to manage your purchase pricing and discount structures with great flexibility. Here, we've provided 4 distinct options to help you categorize and control your pricing based on your business requirements. First is the price list option, where you can create and maintain item-wise purchase rates for different price categories. The second is Party Price Discount, where you can define discounts specific to particular vendors or parties. The third is Brand-wise Purchase Charges, which lets you set specific purchase charges for items belonging to certain brands. And finally, we have Party Brand-wise Purchase Charges, which is a combination of both, meaning you can assign specific charges for a particular brand, but only when dealing with a specific party. This makes your pricing highly targeted and efficient. Let's start with the first option, creating a new price list. To begin, click on the Create New List option. You'll be prompted to enter a name for your price list, something relevant to your internal structure or vendor category. After that, select the price category from the drop-down and specify the effective from date. This is the date from which the price list will become applicable in your transactions. Next, you'll see a list of items appear on the screen. Here, you can define item-wise rates such as dealer rate, wholesale rate, MRP, and any additional discounts you wish to offer. Now you might be wondering how the discount field is showing up here. That's because we've configured this in the system setup earlier. Let's walk through that quickly. In the purchase setup, we had enabled extra fields at the item level. For example, we added a discount field under the extra fields section. From here, you can not only name the field, but also set up how the discount should be calculated and categorized. For instance, whether it should be percentage-based or fixed. Once you save this setting and enable the option Select Rate Category on the document, Align Books will prompt you to select a rate category whenever you create a purchase document. This ensures that the correct rate structure is applied automatically during transaction entry. Now, back to our price list. Once you've filled in all the necessary rates and discounts, simply click on the Save button to store the details. If at any point you want to start fresh, just click on the Clear button. This will remove all the data entered and give you a clean slate to begin again. Need to keep a hard copy? Use the Print button to generate a printable version of your price list. If there's a particular list you no longer need, click on the Delete button to remove it permanently. And to exit the price list window, just use the Exit button. We've also added a Show Filter option, very useful if you want to filter your list view based on specific items, price categories, or rates. It helps you quickly locate and manage the entries you're looking for. Now, if you want to import a price category from Excel, click on the Import drop-down. If you already have an Excel file, you can map the columns accordingly by creating a format and importing that file. If you don't have a file, you can download a ready-made Excel template using the Download Format button. Fill in the data in the template, return to Align Books, and click on Import to bring your entire price list in one go. Align Books provides import functionality across nearly every section, so you can easily bring in your bulk data without manual entry. To edit any existing price list, click the Edit button, update your data, and save. To permanently remove any price list, click the Delete button or the red cross icon beside the entry. Each column has a filter icon, allowing you to search specific entries quickly. You can also sort the list using the arrow icon next to each column heading. And if your screen doesn't update after making a change, just click the Refresh button. This will reload the screen and display all recent updates. Now let's move to the Party Purchase Discount Rate option. This allows you to create party-wise purchase discounts or charges. To create a new list, click on Create New Party Purchase Discount Charges. You'll see a form where you can enter all relevant details. Before proceeding, make sure the extra field for discount is enabled in the configuration settings. To do this, go to Company Setup, then Purchase Setup, and navigate to Billing Setup under Item Level or Document Level, depending on how you want to apply your discounts. Please note, party-wise discount and charges can be applied on both item and document levels, but price lists can only be applied on the item level. For this example, we're enabling a document level discount field. In the second field, we define it as a party discount, set its calculation method and rate, and save the configuration. Now, we'll return to the purchase module, go to Purchase Price List, and then select Party Purchase Discount Rate, click Create New. Enter a suitable description for identification purposes and select the effective date from which the list should apply. A list of parties will appear. You'll now notice that the party discount field has been activated. For each party, you can input the discount percentage you want to apply. Once done, click on the Save button. As with other sections, you'll find the Clear, Print, Delete, and Exit buttons available here too. The import feature is also present. If you don't want to enter party discounts manually, you can create your Excel file or download the provided template. After entering your data, simply import it using the Import button. The Party Purchase Discount Rate field now reflects your discount data. You can click Edit if you need to make changes or use Delete to remove any record permanently. If you want to export the entire list to Excel, just click the Excel icon on the top right. This will download your discount data into an Excel sheet instantly, ready for offline review or backup. If you have created multiple discount rate lists and you are having trouble locating a specific one, you can use the search bar at the top to find it quickly by name. The bulk delete option allows you to remove multiple lists at once. Currently, the checkboxes are not visible because there is only one list available. Once you create multiple lists, checkboxes will appear next to each entry. Simply select the desired lists and click on the bulk delete button to remove them all at once. The refresh button is available to reload the screen and reflect any recent changes made. As with other sections, you can use the Show Filter and Clear Filter buttons to apply or remove filters on the displayed list. These make it easier to narrow down entries based on your criteria. Now let's move on to the next option, Brand-wise Purchase Charges. Earlier you defined the item price list and then created party-wise discount rates. Now using this feature, you can define charges or discounts based on specific brands. To begin, you need to create a brand-wise charges list just like you did with party-wise discounts. Before you start, make sure to configure this option in the company setup under Purchase Setup. Since brand-wise charges only apply on the item level, go to Billing Setup, Item Level. Here, select any of the extra fields and assign it to brand-wise. For example, in this case, I'm assigning the label Party Discount. Next, define the calculation method, whether it's based on a percentage or a fixed amount. Also, choose the appropriate posting ledger to specify where the charge or discount should be posted. If you want the system to let you decide whether to add or deduct the value while creating the invoice, select the floating option. Otherwise, choose Add or Deduct depending on your needs. Once done, set the rate-based field to brand-wise and click Save. Now, after refreshing the screen, the brand-wise discount field will appear. Currently, there is only one brand in the system, default brand, so that is what is shown. You can set brand-specific rates or discounts for retailer, wholesaler or dealer and click Save to store the rate list. All these options, item rate, party purchase discount, brand-wise and party jod brand-wise charges work similarly in structure. The main difference lies in the categorization. The last option here is party jod brand-wise charges. This lets you define purchase charges or discounts that are specific to both a party and a brand combination. As always, begin by configuring it under Purchase Setup, under Billing Setup, Item Level. Select an extra field and name it something like Party Brand Discount. Then under Rate Base, select Party Brand-wise and save your settings. After configuration, return to the module and create a new Party Jod Brand-wise discount list. Here, you'll see both party names and brand names. Select the applicable date and enter the discount rate for that specific combination. Click Save once done. This way, AlignBooks allows you to create multiple structured lists of discounts and charges based on your unique business setup. Now let's move to the next section, Purchase Requisition. This feature is especially useful for manufacturing or trading businesses where maintaining a continuous flow of raw materials is critical to avoiding production delays and missed customer orders. A purchase requisition is a formal request sent to the purchase department indicating that you need certain materials to continue production or operations. To raise a requisition, start by selecting the requester. Requesters are the users who initiate this request in the system. The software will automatically pick the current date, though you can change it if needed. Each requisition will have a unique voucher number, auto-generated by the software for tracking purposes. Now let's explore the fast billing options available in the item section of the invoice. You'll notice two icons here, the 3 dots and the 4 dots. The 3-dot option allows you to select multiple items at once while also giving you filter options. So if you want to narrow down the item list by item group or any custom category you've set in your data, you can do that here. Once filtered, you can enter the quantity for each item, select the ones you need, and click OK. All selected items will be automatically loaded into the invoice. The 4-dot icon works similarly, but without any filters. You simply scroll through the list, enter the quantities directly, and click OK to load them into the invoice. It's a quicker option when you don't need to filter the list. Next is the barcode entry option. Here, you can input multiple item codes, barcodes, serial numbers, or batch numbers with their quantities separated by commas. When you click OK, the system will auto-fetch those items and load them all into the invoice at once. It's helpful for scanning-based workflows or fast stock entries. If you want to copy the items from one invoice and paste them into another, use the copy grid option. Click the copy icon to save the current list of items, then go to the new invoice and click the same icon to paste the copied data. This saves time when repeating orders or creating similar invoices. The settings icon lets you customize how your item table looks. For example, if you've added or removed columns or rearranged them, you don't need to do that again next time. Just click on Save Grid Configuration, and those changes will be remembered. You can also choose to set this layout as the default so that every time you create a new invoice, it opens with your preferred item table format. If you want to add or remove specific columns from the table, use the column chooser. A window will open where you can drag and drop columns into or out of the item table. For instance, if you drag in the return item column, it will appear in the table. If you want to remove it, just drag it back out and it disappears. To add more rows manually, just click on the Add icon and a new blank row will be inserted into the item list. If you need to remove any item from the invoice, select that row and click on the Remove icon. The system will confirm the deletion, and once you approve, the item will be removed from the list. The search icon helps you quickly check details for a specific item. You just select the item and a pop-up will show you its group, unit, last sale and purchase rates, total in and out quantity, and current stock balance. This is useful for verifying information while billing. You can also use the attribute option for adding specific details to an item, depending on your setup. For example, in a garment business, you can select a particular size or color. After selecting the item, click on Attribute. Enter the values such as size or color, and click OK. These will be saved with the item in the invoice. The widget icon next to it lets you view item-related reports without leaving the screen. You can quickly see the last 6 transactions for the item, the last 6 transactions with the selected party, any pending sales or purchase orders, and warehouse stock details. This gives you quick access to relevant data right within the invoice window. If you scroll to the right side of the item table, you'll notice additional fields where you can enter item amounts, net rates, remarks, and also select the adjacent ledger code for each item. Once all the item details have been entered, just below the item table, there are 2 small icons. One is the Add icon and the other is the Zoom icon. This Add icon works the same as the one inside the item table, allowing you to insert more rows to enter additional items manually. Now the Zoom icon is particularly helpful when you've entered a large number of items, say 50 or 60 items in one document. Instead of scrolling line by line, you can click the Zoom icon to open a full screen view and see all the loaded items in one place. It helps in cross-verifying everything before saving or printing the invoice. There's also a remark icon. When clicked, the software will auto-pick the default remark for the invoice. However, if you want to customize it or change it for this specific document, you can modify it manually as per your requirement. Just below that, you'll see the Purchase Custom fields. These are the additional fields we enabled earlier from the configuration settings. They appear here on the document screen and can be filled in with the relevant values while entering the transaction. The next option is the Attachment section. If you wish to upload any related documents, for example, a scanned copy of a supplier quote or a PDF of the requisition request, click the Select File button. Once you choose and open the file, it will be attached to this invoice and stored within the system for future reference. Once all the information is in place, Click the Save button to save the document. If you wish to print the invoice, use the Print button. Clicking on the drop-down next to it gives you three options: Preview, Export, and Configuration. Preview allows you to select from multiple pre-configured formats provided by Align Books. Once selected, you can specify how many copies you want and click Preview to see how the document will look before final printing. If you want to send the invoice as a PDF, click on the Export option. This will generate and download the PDF version of the document. Under Configuration, you can manage printing settings like header and footer remarks, terms and conditions, bank details, and even insert a payment link. Align Books supports integration with several payment gateways. If you've configured one, the payment link can be included in the invoice, making it easier for customers to pay online. You can also set your default invoice format and the number of copies to print. Additionally, you can configure a digital signature to be applied to the invoice, useful for businesses needing signed digital documents. The Clear button is used to reset the current screen. If you want to cancel the invoice in progress and start fresh, click on Clear and all fields will be emptied. From the Mail tab, you can email the invoice link directly to the vendor. If you've integrated SMS services, you can also send invoice notifications via text message. Finally, the Schedule button is useful for recurring invoices or fixed purchase entries. If there are documents that need to be created on a regular basis, such as fixed monthly expenses or purchase requests for regular raw materials, you can schedule them here. After scheduling, these documents will automatically appear in the post-requirement module based on the frequency you set: daily, weekly, monthly, or custom intervals. This feature helps automate repetitive tasks and saves time. You will notice an Import button which allows you to bulk import purchase requisitions. If you don't have a ready format, you can download the template directly from the software, fill in the relevant data, and re-upload it using this option. If you already have your own Excel file with data, you can create a custom mapping format to match your file's columns with the software's fields and directly import multiple purchase requisitions into Align Books. At the top of the screen, there are multiple important tabs and options provided to manage your documents. The first is the Open tab. This is used when you want to review or edit a previously created purchase requisition. Click on the OK button, and a confirmation pop-up will appear. Click Yes, and you can set filters including specific date ranges to narrow down the list. All purchase requisitions that match the filters will be shown here. You can then click Edit to modify any of the entries. If you want to print one or more of the selected documents, just tick the checkbox next to them and click the Print Selected Document button. This will print only the selected ones, which is useful when you have a large volume of records but want to take action on a specific few. To delete documents in bulk, use the checkboxes to select multiple invoices and then click on the Bulk Delete button. This permanently removes the selected purchase requisitions from the software. You can also send email, SMS, or WhatsApp messages directly from here. Though this option is generally used in the sales module, for example to send a payment link or invoice to the customer, the same functionality applies here for vendor communication if required. To exit the current window, simply use the Exit tab. There's a Delete button as well, which allows you to remove a single document permanently. If you want to copy an invoice, maybe to save time when creating a similar entry, use the Copy button. It creates a duplicate of the selected invoice, which you can then modify before saving as a new one. Sometimes, you may not want to permanently delete a document, but want to cancel it. You can use the Cancel option. This will mark the invoice as cancelled, but retain it in your list for records and tracking. If you later decide to bring it back, use the Restore tab to restore that cancelled document. A calculator icon is available on every invoice screen. If you need to make quick calculations like tax percentage, item pricing, or totals, you can use this built-in calculator without leaving the screen. There is also a configuration button available in every invoice or document screen. This allows you to tailor the specific settings for that particular document type. For example, you can link this purchase requisition to a parent document, say a sales order. In that case, all the information from the sales order will automatically flow into the purchase requisition. This is useful when your purchase is directly dependent on an incoming sales order. There's also an option to validate unique reference numbers, which can be done party-wise, branch-wise, or overall depending on how you wish to maintain document uniqueness. The item-based view settings allow you to configure how the item selection window will behave. You can choose whether you want to display all items along with their available balance, only items that have a stock balance. Select your preference and click Save to apply the change. Lastly, the General Configuration section includes voucher numbering settings. You can choose whether you want the voucher numbers to be generated automatically by the software or whether you want to enter them manually. If you choose Auto, Align Books will assign the next available number. If you prefer manual, you can input your own voucher number as per your internal documentation process. We begin with the Reinitialize series. This option allows you to control how your voucher numbers reset over time. Depending on your business preference, you can choose whether the series should restart on a monthly, yearly, or daily basis. This is especially useful for organizations that want a clean sequence of voucher numbers for each month or year for better record keeping. You can configure it as per your requirement. Next is the prefix. If you want a fixed prefix added to every voucher number, like PR for purchase requisition, you can configure it here. Prefixes help you quickly identify the document type just by looking at the voucher number. You can choose whether to configure this prefix manually or allow the system to generate it automatically. If you select the Auto option, an additional section will appear where you can define how the prefix should be generated, whether based on the document category, location, or a combination of both through document category mapping. Then we have the separator. This lets you define what should appear between the prefix and the voucher number. You can use a hyphen, a space, a slash, or even no separator at all. Just choose what fits your company format best. Now you come to the numbering digit. Here you need to mention how many digits should be present in the voucher number. For instance, if you mention 3, your voucher number will appear as 001, 002, and so on up to 999. You can choose any value from 2 to 6 digits based on how many vouchers you expect to generate. Moving forward, we have the Notification Configuration section. Please note, this notification configuration is specifically related to purchase requisition. Any settings you configure here will only apply to that document type. First, there is the email configuration. If you integrate your email account within Align Books, the software can automatically send purchase requisitions directly via email. You can customize the subject line and type your message content as well. Alongside email, Align Books also supports SMS configuration, so you can alert vendors or internal teams via text message. And not just SMS, WhatsApp configuration is also available. If your business prefers sending updates through WhatsApp, this is a convenient integration. There's also an option to attach the document print with the message. All you need to do is tick the checkbox, and the system will automatically attach the PDF of the requisition to your message. Once you've made all your selections, simply click on the Save button to confirm the configuration. The final part of this setup is the approval procedure. In many organizations, a purchase requisition needs to be reviewed and approved before it proceeds to the purchase department. Align Books allows you to automate that workflow. You can set approval at 1 level, 2 levels, or define a custom workflow. If you select 1 level, you'll be asked to define a few parameters. For example, what is the amount limit for auto approval? If the requisition amount is below this limit, it will be automatically approved. You can also assign a specific user who will be responsible for approving the requisition. If that user is unavailable, you can assign an alternate user who will act as a backup approver at level 1. Once all roles and rules are set, just click on the Save button. And with that, you've completed the setup for purchase requisition in Align Books. You've now learned how to configure the voucher numbering notification system and approval hierarchy, giving your purchase workflow a fully automated and organized structure. In the purchase order section, we begin with the GST type selection. Align Books provides various invoice types to match different transaction scenarios. For example, if you're purchasing goods within India under normal circumstances, you'll select tax invoice. If it's a branch transfer, say you're moving inventory from your Delhi branch to your Mumbai branch, you'll choose the branch transfer option. If the invoice is exempted, nil rated, reverse charge, or even an import, you can select the appropriate type here to ensure correct tax treatment. Next, you select the vendor name. If the vendor's email ID is already stored in the vendor master, the software will automatically pull it into this form. In this case, since the email wasn't saved in the master, it's not auto-filled. You also have a currency drop-down. If you're dealing with foreign vendors, Align Books supports multi-currency transactions. Just select the currency and specify the conversion rate applicable. This allows accurate calculations in your base currency. The software automatically picks the delivery date as the current date, but you can modify it to any required future date. Similarly, the order date and order number will be picked up automatically by the software based on your voucher numbering settings. If you have any reference number related to the purchase, you can mention it here. Select the agent name involved in the transaction if required. Then comes the price category, the one you created earlier using the price list feature. Just select the price category here, and the system will automatically fetch the corresponding rates for the items based on that list. Choose how you want to handle taxes, inclusive or exclusive, depending on your business needs. The billing address will be picked up from the vendor details, but you can edit it if required. You can also enter the shipping company's details here. If the shipping company is not already added, click on the Add button and enter the address. Now, if you've already created a purchase requisition, you can pull in the items directly by clicking on Pull from Requisition. Based on the vendor selected, all related requisitions will appear. Just select the items and click OK, and they'll be loaded into your order automatically. The fast billing options, as we saw earlier, are available here too. You can add multiple items quickly, load them by barcode, or copy item tables from other invoices. Using the Settings button, you can configure the item table as per your preference, add or remove columns, rearrange them, and save this view for future use. Scroll to the right to enter more item-level details like quantity, rate, discounts, taxable value, tax amount, and freight charges. The system also supports automatic rounding off if enabled in your configuration. If you want to add any remarks, click the remark icon. You can edit it based on the transaction. Attach documents if needed, like a quotation or supporting file. If you've paid in advance to the vendor, enter that amount here and select the appropriate ledger to post it under, whether cash, bank, or any other account. The logistic details section lets you specify shipping method, tracking numbers, and more. In overhead expenses, you can record freight, insurance, packaging, or handling charges. These will be added to the cost of the items automatically, giving you a more accurate landed cost. Once all the details are filled in, simply click on Save to finalize the purchase order. To print, click on the Print button. You can preview the invoice, choose from multiple pre-configured templates, export the document as PDF, and configure what appears in the header, footer, or terms and conditions. You can even include a payment link if your gateway is integrated. You can also mail the document directly to the vendor or set up an auto schedule if the same document needs to be created regularly. The import option allows you to bring in multiple purchase orders in bulk using Excel. Just download the template or map your existing Excel file to match the system fields. And with that, we complete the purchase order feature in the AlignBooks purchase module. Now let's move to the next section of the purchase module, the Goods Receipt Note, also known as GRN. A GRN is a document used to confirm that the goods ordered from a supplier have been received. It does more than just acknowledge receipt. It also confirms that the ownership of goods has officially transferred from the seller to the buyer. To begin, select the GST type, choose the vendor, and if the vendor's email ID is saved in the master, it will auto-populate here. Select the currency, and then choose the appropriate price category. Next, fill in the header details as required. Now, to load items directly from an existing purchase order, simply click on the Pull from Order button. The system will display all related orders. Just select the desired items and click OK. The selected item details will be automatically added to your GRN. You can add a remark if needed and attach any supporting documents by clicking on the Attachment option. You can also enter logistic details related to the delivery, such as shipping method, tracking information, and more. If there are any overhead expenses like freight, packaging, or handling, you can enter those here. These costs will directly affect the item cost. Once all the necessary details have been filled in, click on the Save button to finalize the GRN. All other tabs here are similar to the ones we've discussed earlier, like Print, Schedule, Import, Open, Delete, Cancel, Copy, and Restore. Next is the Configuration tab, where you can customize document behavior. Here you can choose the parent document for your GRN, either a purchase order or a purchase deal. If you want to restrict the quantity in the GRN to not exceed the quantity in the parent document, simply tick the checkbox labeled "Do not allow quantity more than parent document." You can also choose how the document should pull in details. Options include full document, item quantity based, line item with header, full document for scan. For example, if you choose full document for scan, once you reopen the GRN, a new option labeled Pull From will appear. Here, you can select the order, and when items are scanned, the system will automatically load them into the GRN and deduct them from the order, ideal for barcode-based inventory movement. You can also set an auto-expiry date for the parent document and define rate preference settings. If needed, you can skip specific locations by enabling the relevant checkbox. You can also filter based on the party or sub-party level and specify which item types are allowed, such as finished goods, raw materials, consumables, scraps, or services. For reference control, there's a unique reference number validation option. You can decide whether the system should enforce this validation and at what level. The item list display option lets you choose how item lists should appear on screen: basic list, list with balance, or balance-only items. Once all these preferences are selected, click on the Save button to apply your configuration. Now, under the Numbering tab, you can set how the GRN number is generated, automatically or manually. Whether the series should restart monthly, yearly, daily, or never. What prefix to use. What separator to use, such as hyphen, slash, or space, and the number of digits in the voucher number. Moving to notifications, AlignBooks lets you send the GRN via email, SMS, or WhatsApp, depending on your integrations. Just enter the message and enable attachment of the printed GRN document if needed. Finally, there's the approval process. If your organization uses a multi-level approval system, you can define those rules here as well, whether it's a single level, two-level, or custom workflow with alternate approvers and amount-based auto-approval logic. And with that, we complete the goods receipt note process in AlignBooks. Now let's move on to the next important section, the purchase bill. In the purchase bill, you'll first select the GST type and define whether the invoice is being created for a cash or credit transaction. Then, you can choose the relevant warehouse. For example, if your business operates multiple warehouses like one in Kalashnagar and another in Kirtinagar, you can manage and select them here within AlignBooks. Next, select the vendor. If the vendor's email ID is already saved in the master, it will be automatically picked up by the software. After that, enter the invoice details as needed. Now, if you want to pull the order details directly into the purchase bill, you can do so using the parent document configuration. As shown earlier, based on the selected parent document, such as a goods receipt note, the software will update the button label accordingly. For instance, if you have selected GRN as the parent document and saved it, the button will change to allow pulling directly from GRN. Just click it, select the relevant GRN, and the details will be auto-loaded into the bill. You can scroll down to enter a remark for this invoice, attach relevant documents, and fill in logistics details such as shipping information. If you previously built similar transactions and want to replicate those overhead expenses, just click on Fetch from Last Bill. The software will automatically import those values for you. All common functionalities such as open, delete, copy, cancel, and restore are also available here to manage the purchase bill records. And with that, the purchase bill section is complete. Now, let's talk about reporting. To access reports, go to the Reports module and click on All Reports. Then open More Reports. Here, AlignBooks categorizes reports by function, such as customer sales, vendor purchase, inventory, and more. For purchase-related reporting, head to the Vendor Purchase section. If you want to view a purchase register, click on the folder icon and you'll see all relevant registers such as Purchase Order Register, GRN Register, Purchase Return Challan, Payment Register, and Purchase Price List. As you scroll, you'll also see reports like Trial Ledger and Vendor Master Reports. If you're looking to monitor outstanding balances, you'll find detailed reports like Bill-Wise Outstanding Vendor Report, Bill-Wise Payment Details, and Aging Analysis. Use the filter options to refine your report and then click View to display it. There's also a linkage report section that helps track document conversions. For example, you can easily check how many purchase orders have been converted into GRNS and how many GRNS have been turned into purchase bills. This report will show detailed linkage like the vendor name, order reference, order amount, and if you scroll to the right, the corresponding GRN details and any pending quantities. Now let's move to the purchase credit note. A purchase credit note is a document issued when the buyer is returning goods to the seller or claiming a refund or discount. Let's say you received goods from a vendor but noticed some were damaged during inspection. In that case, you can create a credit note to return those specific items. To get started, select the vendor from whom the goods were purchased, enter a reference number and any other required details. In the Against Bill Number field, enter the original purchase bill number, for example, 0002. Now click on Pull from Purchase Bill. A list of bills will appear. Simply tick the checkbox next to the bill and click OK. The related item details will auto-load into the credit note. You can adjust the quantity. For instance, if you are returning only 3 out of 20 water bottles, update the quantity here. Modify the rate if needed. Scroll to the right to view additional item level details. You can add a remark, attach documents, and view the calculated item value, discounts, tax, and any freight or rounding adjustments. Once all details are verified, click on the Save button. If you wish to print the purchase credit note, click on the Print drop-down. You can choose to preview the document or export it as a PDF. If any customization is required, click on the Configuration tab to modify the layout, footer, header, or other print-related settings. And that completes the Purchase Credit Note section. As mentioned earlier, all tabs like Print, Export, Mail, Schedule, Attachment, and Configuration have already been explained in the previous videos. If you'd like to view the list of all purchase credit notes you've added in Align Books, just click on the Open button. To delete a purchase credit note, use the Delete button. And if you want to make any document-specific configuration changes, Align Books provides a separate configuration tab for each module. Here, you can manage settings related to general options, numbering, notification, and the approval process, all on a document level. Now let's move on to the next feature, Purchase Debit Note. A purchase debit note is a document issued by a buyer when they are required to pay additional charges due to undercharged invoices or added costs. Unlike a purchase credit note where goods are returned and the amount is reduced, in a debit note, the buyer agrees to pay an extra amount. This could be due to late charges, overlooked freight, or any revised invoice value. To create a purchase debit note, begin by selecting the vendor and filling in the basic invoice details. Then, in the Against Bill Number field, mention the bill number against which you are paying this additional amount. Use the Pull from Purchase Bill option to bring the item details from the original invoice. Just tick the checkbox and click OK. All details will be auto-loaded. You can then update the quantity or rates if needed and scroll down to enter remarks, which are auto-picked by the software but can be modified as required. If you have any supporting documents, you can attach them here. Once everything is filled out, simply click on the Save button. To view existing purchase debit notes in the system, use the Open tab. To remove any, use the Delete tab. As with other documents, the Configuration tab is available here too, where you can define your preferences for how the document works. And with that, the Purchase Debit Note section is complete. Now, let's understand the Purchase Return feature. A purchase return is recorded when goods are returned back to the supplier. This can happen due to multiple reasons such as defective or damaged goods, incorrect items received, quantity mismatches, unwanted or excess stock, items nearing expiry or already expired. To create a purchase return, start by selecting the vendor and the GST type. Choose the type of invoice you are creating and mention the reference number and any other required details. Mandatory fields are highlighted with a red mark, so make sure those are filled. Optional fields can be skipped if not needed. As with other modules, the Pull from Purchase Bill feature is available here as well. You can use it to import item details directly from an existing purchase bill. Just tick the checkbox beside the relevant bill and click OK, and the item details will be pulled into your purchase return document. From here, you can adjust quantities, enter remarks, attach documents, and once everything is in place, simply click the Save button. Let's now continue with the purchase return. In the purchase return screen, you can also edit the quantity and the rate for each item as required. On the right side, you can view Party Info, which includes details like the vendor's balance and credit limit. Below that, you'll see Item Info, which shows the items currently loaded in this return invoice. You can also view IGST and tax details here. If there's any supporting document related to the return, you can attach it using the Select File button. Logistic details are also available in the Purchase Return screen, where you can mention shipping details related to this invoice. If there are overhead expenses, you can either fetch them from the last bill using the Fetch button or mention them manually. Multiple options are available like freight, insurance, handling, documentation charges, bank charges, and others. Once all the necessary details are entered, click on the Save button to save the purchase return. Now let's move on to a very important feature in Align Books, bulk GRN or purchase invoice. This section is especially useful when you need to import or generate multiple documents in bulk instead of creating them one by one. The bulk purchase invoice from order option allows you to convert multiple purchase orders into purchase invoices in a single go. To begin, select the vendor and then set the date range for which you want to process the conversion. You can use the quick period selector or manually select from date and to date. Once done, click on the OK button. All the orders that match your criteria will be displayed on the screen. Now, just tick the checkboxes for the orders you want to convert and click on Save. You will be asked to select the date on which these invoices should be saved. Choose the date and click OK. The system will show you the item mapping screen to confirm item details. And just like that, all the selected orders will be auto-converted into purchase invoices. Next, let's look at the bulk GRN from order feature. This option allows you to convert multiple orders into GRNs at once, ideal when goods have been received in bulk and need to be recorded in the system. The process is the same. Select the vendor, set the date range, and click on OK. The list of purchase orders will appear. Select the ones you want to convert into GRNs, click Save, choose the date and click OK. You'll get confirmation that the documents have been successfully saved. If you'd like to review them, just go to the Goods Receipt Note section and click on Open. You'll see all the auto-generated GRNs listed there. Moving forward, we have bulk purchase invoice from GRN. This works exactly like the previous two options, but this time it lets you convert GRNs into purchase invoices in bulk. Just select the vendor, define the date range, and click OK. The GRNs will be listed. Select the GRNs you wish to convert, click Save, choose your invoice date, and click OK. The system will take care of the rest, creating purchase invoices for each GRN automatically. So using these bulk import options, you can quickly convert orders into invoices, orders into GRNs, GRNs into invoices, all with just a few clicks, saving a lot of time and manual effort. Now let's explore a powerful automation feature in Align Books. Bulk sales invoice from other company as purchase invoice, also known as bulk SI from other company as PPI. Suppose both the supplier and the buyer are using Align Book software. In such cases, when your seller generates a sales invoice in their system and you manually create a corresponding purchase invoice in your system, it can be a time-consuming and error-prone process. To solve this, Align Books provides a seamless integration feature that allows you to directly import your supplier sale invoices as your purchase invoices. Let's understand how this works. First, both companies, the buyer and the seller, must complete a one-time integration process. To begin the integration, go to the Configuration menu in Align Books, click on Company Setup, and then select the Integration tab. Scroll down until you see the Align Books Integration section. Now click on the Register Now button. Here you must enter the company code of your supplier. Make sure you've already created a customer master in your software before this step. To do that, go to the Sales module and create the customer profile using the Customer tab. Once the customer is created, enter your supplier's company code in the registration form, select the customer ledger for this integration, and finally, click on Save. Your supplier will also follow the same steps in their Align Books software. They will go to their integration settings, register your company code, and create a vendor master for you on their side. After both sides have completed the registration, you can now import their sale invoices as your purchase invoices. To do that, go to Bulk GRN Purchase menu. Select the option Pull SI from other company as PI. Choose the seller's company from the list. Select the month you want to import the invoices for, and click on the OK button. The system will now fetch all the sale invoices created by your supplier for that month. You just need to tick the check boxes next to the invoices you want to import and click on Save. All the selected invoices will now be automatically saved in your system as purchase invoices. This feature is extremely useful for businesses where both parties are using Align Books. It saves time by removing the need to enter purchase invoices manually, reduces errors like incorrect quantity or rates, ensures consistency as both buyer and seller will have matching invoices, and helps in faster reconciliation and accurate accounting. Now let's move to the next feature, bill payment. The bill payment section in Align Books is used to record all the payments made to your suppliers. So whenever you purchase goods from your vendor and need to record the payment, this is the module you'll use to create a bill payment. Select the vendor you're making the payment to. Choose the ledger. This could be a bank account or cash ledger, depending on how the payment is being made. Enter the amount that is being paid. If paying via bank, you can also enter the check number. Select the payment date. Now, when it comes to adjusting this payment against the supplier's invoices, you have two options. A. Auto adjustment. If you choose this option, the software will automatically start adjusting the payment against the oldest pending invoices first, ensuring that bills are cleared in chronological order, from the earliest to the latest. This saves time and ensures a systematic way to clear outstanding payments. Now let's talk about the second method of adjusting payments, that is, manual adjustment. You can also enter the payment amount manually in the given field. Once you enter the amount, the system will begin auto-adjusting bills in the order they appear. For example, if you enter 6,700 rupees and the first invoice value is 1,062 rupees, the software will automatically apply 1,062 rupees to the first invoice and continue applying the remaining amount to the next invoices in order. If you click on any invoice manually, the system will autofill the payment amount for that particular bill. When you scroll the screen to the right, you can see additional details like cash discount, branch, taxable value, total adjusted amount. For remarks, just click on the remark field and the software will autofill the details. If you have any supporting payment document, you can attach it using the Attachment tab. At the bottom, you'll find a quick summary showing the total number of bills selected, total amount adjusted. So whether you choose auto adjustment or manual adjustment, you can easily settle multiple bills on one screen as per your preference. Once all details are confirmed, just click on the Save button to save the payment. To view all payments made to suppliers, click on the Open button. Choose the date range or period. Click on OK. You'll now see the list of all payments made during that selected period. Let's now move to the next feature, Payment Dues. Payment Dues is a very powerful and time-saving feature provided by Align Books. With this tool, you can make payments to multiple vendors at once rather than processing each one individually. Here's how it works. First, select the ledger you're making the payment from, like cash or bank. Then, select the party group, for example, sundry trade creditors. Based on the selected group, all related vendors will appear in the list. Choose the payment type, bill to bill, for making payment against specific invoices. Ad hoc, for making on-account payments without selecting specific bills. With bill to bill, the system will display all pending invoices of the selected vendors, allowing you to pick and pay specific bills. With ad hoc, the software will show the total amount payable to each vendor, but not the individual invoices. Ideal for lump sum payments, you can also filter vendors manually. Either select a single vendor or multiple vendors depending on your need. Once you've selected the vendors and invoices, just click on the OK button. All matching bills will appear on the screen. Select the invoices for which you are making payment by ticking the checkbox. Review the total payment amount and then click on Save. This is how you can easily pay multiple invoices across multiple vendors, all from a single screen. Now let's move on to our next feature, online payment, as part of Align Books' strong commitment to automation and banking integration. You can now make real-time online payments to vendors directly from the software. Align Books supports integration with leading banks, including HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, HSBC Bank. Once your bank is successfully integrated, you can go to the Online Payment tab. Select the vendor and amount and make direct payments from your bank account without needing to log into your banking portal separately. This not only saves time but also ensures better control over payments, automatic ledger updates, and secure banking transactions. Now let's explore the final feature in the Purchase module, the Purchase Scheme. A purchase scheme works just like a sales target scheme, but instead of rewarding a salesman for reaching a sales milestone, you reward your agents for achieving purchase targets from suppliers. For example, if an agent helps procure purchases worth 2 lakh rupees in a month, you might want to give them a 3% commission or a special incentive. You can manage this entire process using the Purchase Scheme feature in Align Books. Let's see how it works. Click on the drop-down menu under the Scheme Template tab and click on Add. Now, give your scheme a name, for example, New Scheme. The system will auto-generate the scheme code. If you want to make the scheme inactive in the future, just tick the Inactive checkbox. You can also apply the scheme as a common target for all agents or choose to set individual targets for each agent. If your business operates in multiple branches and you want the scheme to apply to only a specific branch, tick the branch-specific option. Next, choose who the target is for. It can be for an agent, a vendor, or a party category. Then select what the target is based on. You can apply the scheme on overall amount, specific items, item groups, or specific brands. After that, define the target type, whether it's based on quantity, packing quantity, gross packing quantity, bill amount, or taxable value. Now, set the periodicity. You can create monthly, quarterly, or custom period schemes. Then select the number of slabs. For example, if you want to give a 2% incentive for hitting 50,000 rupees and a 5% incentive for hitting 1 lakh rupees, you can set multiple slabs. Also, choose how the incentive will be calculated, whether it's a fixed amount or a percentage per unit or quantity. Once done, just click on the Save button. To apply the scheme, click on the Created Scheme and click OK. Now, select the agent name and the target period, then click Display. You'll now see the scheme target grid for the selected agent and period. For example, in April, you can set a target of 5,000 rupees and an incentive of 500 rupees. This way, each agent has a clear goal and reward for every period. Once configured, just click on Save. Now, when you create a purchase bill, simply select the agent in the bill. Based on the scheme you configured, the system will automatically calculate the incentive or commission. To view and track the scheme performance, go to Purchase Module Purchase Scheme Scheme Evaluation. Here, select the scheme, agent name, and the period. Then click Display. You will be able to see target value, actual purchase, calculated incentive. Since no purchase bill has been entered for this agent in our demo, the fields are currently blank. But once you start booking purchase bills with agent names, this evaluation screen will automatically show you the performance. So this is how you can use Align Books to manage agent-wise purchase incentives, track progress, and reward performance seamlessly. With that, we've now completed the full purchase module in Align Books. We've covered everything from vendor management, purchase orders, GRNS, purchase bills, returns and debit, credit notes, bulk invoicing, online payments, and finally, purchase schemes. Thank you for watching this comprehensive tutorial. We hope this helps you manage your purchase operations more effectively using Align Books.